All right, I have a question for you guys. How much work are you doing in your business that doesn't have to be done? How many added steps are you creating between the thing that you want and then the path that it's taking to get you there? Here's the thing, like, I get it. Sometimes there's prep work to be done, right? That's like painting, you're painting a room. It's all in the prep work, right? Sometimes there's prep work that has to be done. And sometimes, yes, a process can be several steps long. But what I'm talking about is, where are you being busy instead of productive? And it can be tricky to notice. It really can. It can be tricky to notice because a lot of times the busy makes you feel really good, right? It makes you feel like you're doing something. But what does it matter if how busy you are isn't actually moving you toward your ultimate goal? Are you adding steps? Are you adding steps that are just prolonging how long it takes you to get there? Are you adding work? Are you adding work? All right, here is what I mean, because this just killed me. I had a laugh. And disclaimer, he knows. He already knows that I use him as an example. He already knows, oh my God, this is going to end up on video. So I had one of those moments with my boyfriend this weekend where we were talking about what project we were going to do. And we had this exchange that I'll share with you in a second. And the last thing he says is, this is going to end up on stage one day, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. So if you don't know this already, if you don't follow my personal site on Facebook or Instagram or anything, we bought a house 2 years ago. We're on about 1.5 acres in the middle of a forest preserve. And one of the things we loved about this location is all the outdoor projects that we get to do. Big fan. That's my happy recharge places: outside, gardening, landscaping, nature, right? So there's this part on the side of our garage that's just like these little pebbles, and I hate it. I don't know why it's there. It looks horrible. I hate it. So I wanted to do something with it. I want to turn it into a little pond. And then on the other side of the whole property, it's a dry riverbed, which is very pretty with boulders and river rock in it. And it's for the water overflow when it rains. But it's not finished. They didn't quite finish the top of it. So we have those two projects are the current things I'm working on. I want these rocks by the garage out of my way so I can do the pond that I'm very excited about. So over the weekend, as I've been complaining about what am I going to do with these rocks? Like, where am I going to put them? They're just too much gravel for me to be moving them myself. We've got an age thing going on here, not as strong as I used to be. I don't want to be moving gravel. So he knows that I really want to work on this pond. And then we had the idea that we can move those rocks and use them to finish off the dry riverbed. Like, we know these are connected. And so very excitedly this weekend, Mike says to me, do you want me to work on piling up the rocks? And he said piling up the rocks. And I'm like, well, why don't we see where we're really going to use them? Where can we put them? What do we want to do with them? And then we can decide. So we walk around and we decide, you know what, they will work in the dry riverbed. So let's just do that. He's like, no, I was just going to pile them up. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm having a barbecue this weekend and we need the whole driveway with the little extra space that we have. Where are you going to, everything else is grass and mud and dirt. And where are you going to pile them up? And he says, well, I was just going to pile them up on the edge of where they are. And I'm looking at him like he's crazy, which is not an unusual situation. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you're going to pile them up on the edge of where they are? They're still going to be in my way. Why don't we just take them directly to where they're going? And he says to me, well, that area is not ready yet. True. And the second thing he says to me is, but if I at least pile them up for you, it will look like, and then you will feel like you're getting somewhere. And I'm like, I get it. I get the logic. He was trying to make me feel better by making it appear that we were making progress towards this pond and new garden area that I want. And I'm like, well, it really only take me one day to prep the rest of the dry riverbed that I need to. And they're rocks. Like, if they were feathers, go ahead, pile them up. We'll move them again. But they're rocks. why in the world, and I'm thinking to myself, I haven't said anything out loud yet. Why in the world would I move rocks any more than I have to? Like, seriously, why would I move heavy rocks even 1 more inch than I have to? And instead of saying any of that, I looked at him and I kind of giggled and I said, you can kind of tell that you have a job and I own a business, right? I meant it as a joke, right? This is very, it sometimes like gets employee thinking, right? I just need to do something so that I look like I'm productive. And where are you doing this to yourself? Where are you doing this to yourself? Where you're literally moving rocks, big things that aren't getting you any closer to any of the outcomes you want. Like, these rocks still would have been in my way. I wouldn't have been able to start my pond project. And if we put them in the right, and it also wouldn't have gotten the dry riverbed any closer to being done by piling them up. So there was going to be this massive amount of work. Granted, I didn't have to do it. He was going to do it for me, but still there was going to be this massive amount of work that didn't get any closer to the 2 outcomes that I want to get to. But it made logical sense to him to try to make me feel better. So yay for him on that one, by at least showing some progress. Where are you doing this to yourself? Where are you making things look different instead of better, right? The area, who cares if the rocks are spread around or in a pile? They're still in my way. It would have just looked different. It wouldn't have solved the problem. I'm telling you, I see this in people's business all the time. So here's my challenge, invitation. I dare you, however you want to take this. What would happen if you took a blowtorch to your to-do list? I said that to a client yesterday. Not even a pen to scratch things out, but a sword or a blowtorch to your to-do list. What if you could only work 20 hours a week in your business from now on, and you still needed to reach the goals and the numbers that you have set? Truthfully, I bet you could do it. If you were really, really honest with yourself about what are the things in your business that actually create the outcomes, not move you a little bit closer to the outcomes, but create the outcomes that you want. What if you only did those things? What if you only did those things? I was rereading 10 times is easier than 2 times, and this particular paragraph stood out. Are you brave enough to let go of the 80% of what you're doing that isn't getting you closer to your 10 times result, even if that 80% is some of the best stuff you've done so far? So I want to invite you to look at this, Where are you moving rocks? Where are you piling rocks up unnecessarily? Because it looks like you're busy and it looks like you're making progress, but you're not actually getting there. How much work are you doing in your business that isn't leading you to your outcomes? I've been doing this exercise. For about 2 months now, truthfully. And I can't even tell you how much lighter I feel. Forget the rock analogy. I can't even tell you how much lighter I feel, how much I know that the outcomes are so much closer than they were before. How the work that I'm doing is going to have such a greater impact because I'm not adding to the work just to have more work. So where could you do that in your business? Where are you piling up rocks instead of actually making progress?